Okay, so yesterday in your Fishsticks Lab, you did this first portion, and you should have answered all your questions. And I've already made a video going over all of that. So if you haven't done that, you need to go back and do that now. Okay, now I'm going to use this video to go over part 2 because there are several steps that you have to take. This is background information. The stream where the fish live is very green and lush, with lots of vegetation and algae covering the stream beds and banks. The green fish are very well camouflaged from predators in the environment, and the red and orange fish fairly well also. However, none of the yellow fish survive or reproduce because predators can easily spot them in the green algae environment. Okay, so this is very important for you to understand that the green fish are very well camouflaged, and the red and orange fish fairly well also. So that means that they're also pretty good at hiding in the algae. They're pretty well camouflaged. However, the yellow fish are easily spotted. So that means predators will have an easier time hunting our yellow fish. So you're going to go through this simulation, creating generations of fish based on genes. So first it says, make sure you have 8 green strips of paper, 8 yellow strips, and 8 red strips. Well, in this case, since you're working virtually, you do not have strips of paper. You have rectangles on a Google slide. Okay? So the first step, they say, is to make sure you have 8 of each color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red. Okay? You're going to want to do this too because sometimes shapes get accidentally deleted. So just make sure you've got 8 of each. Now it says, make the first generation of fish. To do this, it says pull out genes, which are strips of papers, in pairs without looking. Lay them out carefully on the table so that they stay in pairs. This simulates the way offspring are formed by sperm from the male fish combining randomly with eggs from the female fish. So, for this, in class, the students are pulling strips of paper out of envelopes so they can't see them. Here, you need to make this as random as possible. So just what I would do is try to not look as much and just randomly pull them. That's what it means by pairs, is to come over here and just get colors and lay them out so that they're in sets of 2, right? That's a pair, like a pair of shoes. So you want them over here in pairs, okay? And you want it to be random as possible. If you can look away from the screen while bringing your mouse over to this side and then randomly click on one and then look back when you've grabbed it, that's probably the best that we can do in this simulation when you're working online. Okay, now this is just my example, okay? You're going to do all of this on your own so that you have your 12 pairs. Make sure you have 12. I've got 4 rows, 3 in each row, so I know I've got 12, okay? So here are my 12 pairs, so I need to go back to my Fishsticks Lab. So after I've made my random pairs, it says step 2, once you have drawn your 12 pairs, Record the results in Table A. An example fish in your generation is given in Table A, but you're not going to include this in your calculation. So you have to scroll down. This is Table A. It tells you right here. So you have you're putting in the genotype, and then you're figuring out the phenotype of the fish. Okay, so I've got to look back at my pairs to record my fish population. So you have to remember the genes and how they work. Okay, so when I look here, go back to the top, you should have filled this part out on your own. But when I look back, I should know, based on what we filled out earlier, that my green fish is the dominant gene. So it doesn't matter if I have two green strips, a green and a red, or a green and a yellow. It is the dominant allele. So all of these fish would be green. The red, we have to have two red strips. The yellow, we have to have two yellow strips. For orange, we need a red and a yellow. Okay, so when I look back over here, this fish right here is a green fish because the green is going to take over. So this fish would be recorded in my chart as green. So I'm going to put in my text box here, and you can always zoom in on the chart. That's my suggestion. Zoom in. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in and put in my text box here. Okay, and you can always move it. There we go. Okay, so for my first generation, all of this is going to go in this column for first because this is first generation. So my first fish has a green and red strip, so I know it's green. So I'm going to type in green. You can just do a G, okay, or you can do the whole. Oh, it's going to be funny right now, isn't it? Okay, you can just do a G. You don't have to do the whole word. Okay, just know that G means it has the green gene. And then, see if it's going to work for me. We have a red strip too, but it shouldn't be capitalized because it's the recessive gene. There we go. Okay, so we have a green and a red. Now I'm going to put in another text box because I have to type in the phenotype. Remember that the phenotype of the fish means what color did the fish actually show? What gene was actually expressed by the fish? And we know that it was green. Okay, so you're just going to keep working through that. I have two yellow strips. So then I would put in, for this fish, it is yellow and yellow. So I know according to, remember, if you don't remember, you can go back to the top. I know according to the work that I already did, that two Y's make a yellow fish. So this guy is yellow. Come back to my chart. And I'm going to put in that he is yellow. Okay, I'm going to do maybe just a couple more with you. I'm not going to fill in the whole thing. Okay, let's look at this guy. So this guy, I can see he has red and he has yellow. Remember that combination? They are co-dominant alleles, so they will both be expressed by the offspring. So this is going to be an orange fish. So I can come back over here, again, add my text box. And this guy was red and yellow genes. which means he's going to be orange. So you would go through and you would finish out. You need to make sure you get every one of these fish because these alleles came together to decide the color of the fish. Okay, you need to get all 12 listed in your table. Now let's look at the next step. Okay, the next step says count the numbers of each color of fish offspring and record the numbers in table B where it says first generation. Okay, so after you get, remember for you, I'm not doing all 12 with you because that would make a very long video. So I only did 3 examples. Once my first column is finished on each section, okay, I'm going to come down here and you would count how many green were in my first generation of fish in this column. Whatever that number is, you're going to put in a text box and type that in. For me at the moment, I only have 1. Okay. How many red fish did I have? Okay. For me at the moment, I had 0 red fish. Okay. Orange fish, I had 1. And yellow fish, I had 1. Okay. So you're just counting the numbers. Now, the next part is very, very important. You have to go back up. You have to read your information. Okay, I was here. I put the color of fish in. Now it says, because yellow fish cannot survive to reproduce and contribute to the gene pool, their genes are removed from the fish population. If you have any yellow fish in which both alleles are yellow, set those strips of paper, or for you guys, set those colored rectangles aside. Do not put them back in the envelope or do not put them back in the gene pool. Okay? So once you've gotten all of these listed, any fish that have 2 yellow strips, so I would take these guys and I'm going to set them off. Don't delete them in case you decide you've made a mistake later. Okay? I'm going to move this guy off. Now, these yellow strips, they stay because they're recessive genes, right? My orange fish is going to be fine because it told us earlier that they were fairly well camouflaged in the green algae. Okay, so at this point, I want you to mix them back up after you've pulled out any fish that is completely yellow. Just randomly pull them back over. Okay. At this point, what I would really do is pause this video and do what I just walked you through. Make your 12 pairs. Record the 12 pairs in your first generation. Record their alleles, then record their colors and count those colors and record them in table B. Pause that and do that before you come back and watch the next steps. Okay, so now the next thing you're going to do, you're going to put all of the genes back in the gene pool. Now you're going to draw out a second generation of fish, again without looking, and you're going to record it in the same way. You're just not using the yellow strips you set aside. So kind of look away from the screen and kind of grab a gene and pull it over. Sometimes it's silly working with a computer. Okay, so I've got green fish. I've got another green fish. Okay, so you get the idea. You're going to make your pairs again. and you would follow the same steps, except this time, this is the second generation. So you're going to put this information when I'm recording it, I'm going to put a text box under second generation. Okay. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to say, okay, I've got 2 green alleles. So it's dominant green. And for my second generation of fish, my first fish is green. Okay. So you're going to go through that for your second population. Now notice, since we took out some yellow genes here, you will have to repeat it. So we were able to only make, this time, since I pulled out 2 fish, I was only able to make 10. So I want to kind of mix these up and pull out 2 more sets of genes so that I end up with 12 fish in my chart. Okay, you still want 12 fish in each generation. You're just going to have to mix these up. And so if I pulled out 2 sets of yellow, I need to pull out 2 more random sets of genes. Okay. All right. And so that I can put in enough genes to have 12 fish in my second generation. Now, again, I only did part of this with you. I only did one. You need to go through and make sure you have entered all of the genes for your second generation and all of the colors for your second generation. And then you're going to enter how many of each color fish were in your second generation. Okay. Now, where were we? Let's see. Okay, so we were here. Now notice again, you're going to set aside the alleles from any color fish. So, okay, so once you've got your second generation filled in, you've got your color for your second generation filled in. Now you've got to go back to your steps. Okay, we were on step 4. Remember, you have set aside any yellow fish. Oh, well, I've got to make sure I've done that. So I'm going to look at my table. Second generation. Any fish that have the YY, remember, it's only if it has 2 Ys, I'm going to pull those genes out of my gene pool. So if I had 1 yellow fish in my second generation, I'm going to pull out those strips. Okay. If you did not have any yellow fish in your second generation, then you would leave your yellow strips in there, mix everything up, and you're going to repeat these steps. You're going to do this again to make a third generation. And that's all I want you to do today. If you've made your first and second generation, okay, you're going to stop. You're going to stop there. So we're stopping at step 4 today. Matter of fact, I'm going to do that. Okay, so step 4, you're going to stop. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead and stop at step 4. We'll make our third generation tomorrow. All of your stuff will be saved. So your third generation of fish can be made tomorrow. If you've gone through and you've made 2 generations of fish and you have filled in your chart. So if you've got this full, and these 2 are full, make sure you've taken out your yellow genes once you're done. Then when you come back tomorrow, you will make your third and fourth generations, and I'll have a new video for you there. So stop after you've made 2 generations of fish.